Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Mike here from Comp3 Interactive, and what I'm going to show you today is how to create a completely reusable ad manager class. Now in my opinion, this class, albeit very small, very basic, this will rival anything that you can get from the Unity Asset Store, and it's not going to cost you a penny. If we're being honest with ourselves, a lot of us got into game development to make money. I mean, why wouldn't you? But I've seen a lot of people struggling with the Unity Ads API. But once you know how it works, it is actually really simple. So you don't want to sit there and hear me talking about it. You want to see how this is
just
done.
Like to thank
So
Gigatank
let's get into
3000 for sponsoring this video. The links are down in the description. Go give them a follow on Twitter and check out the website for more information.
Now we're actually only going to need one class for this. So we'll create a new C# script and we'll call this Ad Manager. And we'll open this up. So the first thing that we need to do, we need to set up our namespaces like we always do. Now we're not going to need System Collections Generic, but we are going to need Unity Engine and System.Collections, and we're also going to need to be using the system namespace, and possibly the most important one for an ad manager, you're going to need to be using Unity Engine.Advertisements. Now, if you don't have Unity Engine.Advertisements, you may not have the package installed. So first of all, I'll show you how to get that package. So we'll just pop back over into Unity, and if we click Window Package Manager and we search for advertisement, we see that we have our advertisement package. Now I'm completely up to date. If this says install for you or update to a later version, go ahead and click that, and then you should be up and running. Now as part of the Unity Engine Advertisements namespace, we get given access to a couple of interfaces. And the one that we're interested in is the Unity Ads Listener. This is what tells our game that an advert started, it's ended, it's been completed, etc. We need this in, and we also need to cater for the required methods as well. So to do this, after our mono behavior, we'll put a comma, and we need to add in Unity Ad Listener. Now this is going to give us an error to start with because we don't implement the 4 required methods. So we can go in and write these ourselves, or we can just highlight a little IntelliSense bulb and we'll implement the interface. And that'll give us all 4. So 3 of these we don't actually need in our game, but it's just required as part of the ad listener. They are useful in their own instances, but generally the way that I'm going to show you how to do it caters for a lot of this anyway. So on Unity Ads did error, we can just make that an empty method. That's not going to do anything anymore. And we'll do exactly the same for on start, and we'll also do another one for on ready. So we'll just go ahead and take these 3 methods and put these right at the very bottom of our class because we're not interested in them. They're only going to get in our way. So we'll pop these down here. Now this one, on Unity Ads did finish, is going to be our main workhorse. So we'll just get rid of our throw error for now, and we can also get rid of our start and update as well. So now that we've got the shell of our ad manager in place, we'll start adding some variables. Now all of these are going to be private and all of these are just going to be static because we're going to end up making this ad manager a singleton because we only ever want one in our game at any given time. So the first variable that we're going to need is our store ID, our Google Play or Apple App Store ID. And we can get these from the Unity dashboard. So first of all, we will make a private static, and we can tag this as read only because we're never going to want to change this. And this is going to be a string, and we'll call it store ID. So let's go and find out what our store IDs are. So if we load up our Unity dashboard, navigate over to our project and then monetization and placements, we can see that we have our game IDs. So this is the Apple App Store ID and this is the Google Play ID, as you can tell by the icons here. And while we're here, these are also our 3 ad types. You can add your own, But as you can see, we only have 3 options. We have rewarded, interstitial, no idea, that one, the one that you can skip, and banner ads. So I have all 3 ready to go, and all 3 are available on both Apple and Google Play. So we'll go ahead and we'll copy one of our game IDs. We'll come back over to Visual Studio and we'll just pop that in. But this one is just our Google Play. What if we want this to be as generic as possible and we want to cater for Apple as well? Well, we can use some conditional if statements here, or some compiler if statements. So if we do a hash if, and in all capitals we type in Unity Android, we can then make sure that this variable is only available on Unity Android. We will then do an elif, E-L-I-F, that's just else if, I don't know why they've chosen that. And then we can do Unity underscore iOS. And then if we go ahead and copy our line and paste that underneath into Unity iOS, and then cap that off with the end if, and grab our iOS game ID and pop that in down here. So now whenever we build the game for Android, we're going to be using this ID, and then without doing anything else, if we rebuild this for iOS, we'll automatically use this ID. Simple, easy, reusable, we all love it. Next on the variable list, we need a reference to our video IDs. Now our video IDs again are available on our Unity dashboard, and the ID is this string right here. So we can see my normal skippable ad is just called video. Then we have our rewarded video, which is rewarded video, and then our banner ad, which is banner ad. Now this is case sensitive, so be wary of that. But what we can go ahead and do, again, we'll create a private static read-only string. We'll call this video ID, and that one is just video. And we can go ahead and copy this 2 more times. We'll call this one rewarded ID, and we'll call this one banner ID. Make sure we add in rewarded video. Why can't I spell video? And also banner ad. So now we can use these as sort of keys to look up which ad we're interested in showing the player. And then our final variable for now is going to be a test mode. Now we only want to run test mode if we're inside the editor. So again, we can use some compiler if statements, and we can say if we're in the Unity editor, set a private static bool test mode equal to true, else, and then we can copy that line again and set that to false. So the reason we need this is when we're displaying an ad, we need a test mode boolean. Now you could go ahead and just put in true and false when you build your game, but this way it makes sure that when you do build your game, you don't forget to amend the test mode boolean. You push your game live and you've got test ads in there. You don't want that, so this is just a bit of a fail-safe. So now that we've got our strings and keys in place, let's just quickly make this into a singleton. So that'll be public static ad manager instance, and then we'll add the awake method if instance is equal to null, instance equals to this, and we'll also set don't destroy on load and pass in the game object. That way when we change our scene, we won't actually lose our ad manager object. That'll follow us around our game until we shut it down. But if we already have an instance, then we can just go ahead and destroy the game object, because we only want one at any given time. If you want more information on singletons, I'll pop a card up in the top corner. I have a full video that goes into a lot more detail on them. So now that we're all set up, we'll start with the simplest of our ads, which is just going to be our standard ad video. So underneath our awake method, which we can just minimize for now, we'll create a public static so we can access this without creating an instance. Void, we're not going to return anything, and we'll just call this show standard ad. And this one, like I say, it's extremely simple. Inside here, all we want to do is check if advertisement dot is ready, and we'll pass in our video ID, our standard video. So what that's going to do, that's going to check whether or not there's an ad ready to be displayed. Unity does this automatically during initialization. I forgot the initialization step. Okay, so in our awake, what we need to do when we set our instance and we don't destroy it, we need to call advertisement.addListener and pass this in. What that'll do, that'll just take into consideration that we are using the Unity ads listener and add this in the background. And then we'll call advertisement.initialize, and then we'll pass in our store ID and also our test mode. Really simple stuff, but we just need to do that prior to actually calling any of our ads, just because this brings everything together and in the background sets up some ads for us to play. If that step is successfully completed, we should have advertisement is ready for our standard video as true. So if it is, we can call advertisement.show and again pass in our video ID. So that is actually everything completed for our standard ad. We should just be able to call show standard ad and that'll take care of everything for us now. The next one we'll do is a banner ad, as that is the next easiest. This needs to be done in a coroutine because we want to make sure that we keep trying to load that banner ad if it's not available. So first up, we'll just create a private static enumerator and we'll call that show banner when ready, and we'll loop over with a while statement. So while advertisement is not ready, using the exclamation point there, so advertisement dot is ready, and we'll pass in this time our banner ID. So if our banner ID isn't ready yet, we'll yield return new, wait for seconds, and we'll wait for half a second before we try again. So when our ad is finally ready, we'll go ahead and display it pretty much the same way as before. That's advertisement, but this time we're in the banner class. And first of all, we'll set the position. So the set position is whereabouts on your screen it's going to display. More often than not, you're either going to be top center or bottom center. So this will use the banner position enum that comes with the Unity Ads package, and I'm just going to set this to bottom center. You can set it to whatever you like. And then finally, advertisement.banner.show, and we'll pass in our banner ID. Now we just need a way to call this. So under our show standard ad, we'll create a public static void show banner, and we'll also create a public static void hide banner. So if we call show banner, we want to get the instance.start coroutine, and we'll start our show banner when ready coroutine. And really simple, when we want to hide it, we can just call advertisement.banner.hide. Now that'll hide the banner, it won't destroy it, so it'll still be there ready to redisplay whenever you like. Usually the banner ad's only ever displayed on your main menu screen, so when your game loads you'd call show banner, that'd wait until it's ready, then display it, and then when you actually click the play button we'd call hide banner, which would get rid of it for our actual game. So now we've got the two relatively easy ones out of the way, we can go into our rewarded ad. Now this is slightly more complicated, but it isn't actually difficult at all. So we'll just go ahead and we'll create a public static void show rewarded ad, just like we've done before. And again, just like our normal advert, we'll check if it's ready, but this time we'll pass in the rewarded ID, then we'll show it. But we want to take into consideration three criteria here. We want to make sure that we know what's happened with the ad. So if it's finished successfully, if the user skipped it, or if for whatever reason, lack of internet, whatever, the ad failed to load. And this is where on Unity Ads did finish comes in. Now you don't really have to do anything for this. This fires automatically whenever an ad is classed as finished. So what we can do, we can take into consideration our IDs. So we don't actually have to calculate all this for a banner ad, obviously, or a skippable ad, because we don't want to reward the player for the skippable ad. So we'll check if the placement ID, which comes in as default as part of this method when you implement it from the interface, if the ad that's finished, if that placement ID is equal to our rewarded ID, then we want to check what result it was. And the result, again, automatically comes back under this show results enum. So we can just do a switch statement over this. So we'll switch over show result. And there are 3 cases for this. So that'll be case show result dot finished, show result dot skipped, show result dot failed. Now all these are pretty self-explanatory, but I'll just go over them anyway. Finished is called whenever your ad successfully finishes with no interruptions. Skipped is if the user skips the ad when it's playing. Failed is if the ad failed to load altogether. So now we need a way to actually pass in functions to call dependent on the result. And the way that we can do this is we can use delegate actions. So up in our variables, we want to create 3 actions. So under here, we'll just create a private action add success, private action add skipped, and a private action add failed. So what we're going to want to do, we're going to want to populate all 3 of these with customizable actions that we want to take place for any of our scenarios. And actions are really easy to use because we can just call these as if they're a method within this class. So for our add finished, we could call add success, just like we always would. Add skipped, we'd call add skipped, and failed, we'd call add failed. But currently these aren't actually assigned to anything. So inside of our show rewarded ad, we need to assign these. So we'll add in 3 parameters for a show rewarded ad. They're all going to be actions, and we'll call first success, and we'll have action skipped, and then action failed. And whenever we call show rewarded ad, we'll set instance.add success equal to success, instance.add skipped equal to skipped, and you guessed it, instance.add failed to failed. So now, because it's required whenever we call show rewarded ad to give success criteria, failed criteria, and skipping criteria, whenever the ad finishes, we can safely call those methods. And believe it or not, that is actually our ad manager completed. So now from anywhere in our game, we can go ahead and automatically call show standard ad, show banner ad, hide banner ad, show rewarded ad, and this class will automatically take care of this for us. So let's pop over into Unity and we'll start linking all this up with this little test scene I have here. So we'll just go ahead and create another script, and we'll just call this our tester script. So we'll get rid of the start and update, and we want to link this up to our buttons on screen. So we'll just do this in the standard way, so that'll be public void rewarded ad life, public void rewarded ad coins, public void standard ad, public void show banner, public void hide banner. So all these are just going to be linked up to our buttons. You'd have all these functions called in the relevant place. So for example, like I said before, your show banner would be whenever your game launches, your hide banner would be when you enter the game itself. Standard ads, you'd display if the player dies 3 times, for example, that'd let them skip the ad. Or when they do die, if you want to give them an extra life, you'd let them click a button which will play a rewarded ad and give them a life back. So again, we'll start with our standard ad. We'll start with the easy ones again. So now all we need to do is call ad manager dot show standard ad, and that's it. The back end will take care of everything for us. We just have to call this one line. Exactly the same with the banner. We'll just call show banner and ad manager dot hide banner. So now on to our rewarded ads. These take a little bit more setting up, but again, really simple things to do. So we need to create the methods that we want to call on success, skip, and failure. So we currently have 2 success criteria. We have one ad that'll reward the player with an extra life if they watch it, and another that'll reward them with a few extra coins. But we can reuse our show rewarded ad by passing in different methods. So we'll just create a couple more methods down here. So we'll call this success life. And when this fires, you're going to want to add an extra life to your player, but while I'm just testing this, I'm going to throw out a debug.log ad watched plus 1 life. So we'll just get this in the console. You'd add the extra life to your player and then restart the game in this method. Again, we'll have another success method, and this one's just called coins. Debug.log ad watched 100 coins. So there are our 2 success criteria. Next, we need to create our skip. So we'll just call that skip and debug.log add skipped. So I'm just going to put debug.logs out for everything here, but you can cater for these events however you like in your game. And we'll just go ahead and call this one failed. And you guessed it again, debug.log add failed to load. So now we can use these methods in our rewarded ads. So we can call ad manager dot show rewarded ad, and we need to pass in 3 parameters, our actions. So we'll pass in success life, skip, and failed. So the way this is going to work is we'll call rewarded ad, that'll call ad manager dot show rewarded ad, it'll pass in our success life method as its callback. So when it passes through, the ad will finish. The ad will finish with a result of finished, and we'll play our add success, which has been set to our success method. So we can see this working in just a second. I'll just go ahead, copy this, and change that out to success coins this time. So now you can see that we're using the exact same method, but we're passing in a different action parameter for success. So we should get different results dependent on which one we call. So let's go and link all this up. So first of all, we'll create an empty game object, call that ad manager, and just throw our ad manager script onto it. That's all we need to do. Next, we'll throw our tester onto the canvas, and I'll go ahead and I'll link up all of these buttons with the corresponding method. I'll speed this up because nobody wants to watch this. And there we go. So every one of these buttons is linked up to one of our methods in our tester script, and we should get a debug.log in our console depending on which one we press. So the moment of truth, let's save, and we'll play our game. So we've stuck with this order throughout the video, so let's start with it. The standard ad with no reward. We click that, we can see our ad would be displayed here. We can skip or close, and we get no message because we have no reward for that. Next, we can show the banner, which would display down here. Hide banner, we'll get rid of it, and you can do that whenever you like just by calling ad manager dot show banner or hide banner. Next are our 2 important ones, or more important should I say, in my opinion, extra life and our coins. So as you remember, both of these call our ad manager dot show rewarded video method, but
both of these have different outcomes. So if we press rewarded life, our ad comes up, it's completed, we get ad watched plus 1 life. If we click rewarded coins, we get ad watched plus 100 coins. So yeah, I know that was a lot of information, guys, but I hope it does help you understand Unity ads a little bit more. And what I'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll put a link in the description to these 2 classes on my GitHub page. So that's all I've got for you this week. I'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more bite-sized Unity hints and tips.